Welcome. I'm Karen Marsdale, and I'm on staff at the Greater Reading Chamber Alliance, and I'm here today with two young ladies for a chat member spotlight, and this is a great spotlight. I think you're going to enjoy it because they are from an organization that no one is unfamiliar with, and that is Humane Pennsylvania. And we'll talk a little bit about that name and the nuance of the change of names, but I'd like to welcome Lindsay and Lauren Henderson. So ladies, welcome today. Thank you for being here. So we talked a little earlier before we went live about just the sort of little nuance of change of names from what maybe folks would think of as the Humane Society to Humane Pennsylvania. Tell us why the change.
Yes, so a couple years ago, 2014, our organization merged with another organization in Lancaster, which is called the Humane League of Lancaster County. So we went from the Humane Society of Berks County to have more of a parent entity, which is known as Humane Pennsylvania. So Humane Pennsylvania is run out of our North 11th Street office. We run the Humane Society of Berks County and the Veterinary Hospital in Reading, and then we also run the Humane League of Lancaster County and the Veterinary Hospital in Lancaster. So we have footprints in both counties and serve both communities.
So it makes sense.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about, and you want to get that out because have there not been changes to the programmatic side of what you've always done, if you will, and we'll talk a little bit about maybe what those programs are.
Yes, so we have a handful of programs that are really distinct and unique to the organization, one of which is called Spike's Pet Pantry. So it is a pet food pantry and food bank.
Food bank for pets.
Yes,
I love
exactly.
that.
Yep. We want to break down any barriers that may result in an animal being brought to the shelter because their family is pet food insecure. So for us, pet food insecurity is one of the number one reasons why an animal is surrendered. Unfortunately, a family may fall on hard times. For example, the recent government shutdown really messes with folks' finances, and we don't want an animal to come to us because they can't afford a bag of dog food. We want to be able to give them that dog food and therefore keep that pet safe and happy and secure in the home, because ideally a pet is better off, on somebody's couch than in our shelter.
Sure, and there is a trickle-down effect because quite frankly you're going to feed your family, your children, et cetera, before unfortunately you're going to have the opportunity to feed your pets. So talk to me a little bit, Lauren, about your job is you're responsible for events.
Yes, events and corporate relations.
Yep. And so, of course, we know pretty much what events do. We'll talk about one big one coming up very shortly. But in terms of corporate relations, define what that means.
Corporate relations is basically working with all of the business folks in Berks and in Lancaster counties. So forming partnerships with them, and it doesn't always have to be like monetary partnerships. We're not always going after companies for their money. Some of it is a donation drive that they're going to host for us over the holidays. We just met with a chiropractor a couple weeks ago, and they're going to just provide some wellness visits for our staff, which is fantastic.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
So just any type of partnership we can form with corporations, whether that is monetary support, obviously that's the lifeline of our organization, but just being able to partner with folks in different ways and different corporations that want to contribute to our staff and to the animals we serve.
Well, that's wonderful, and I think that most people are, I would say if they don't have an animal, a pet at home, they usually still love to be a part of something that's so good. What would you say is probably the most important thing that your organization does for the good of the community at large?
Sure, I'm going to pass.
And I'm sure that's probably a lot. That's a big question, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh boy. So for us, it kind of breaks down into several different ways the organization helps the community. So if I can pick one from each of those sections, that would be ideal. So for example, I mentioned that we run a public and open pet hospital. So for our veterinarians, one of the largest charges that we've had within the community is offering low-cost services to individuals, spay and neuter services, microchip services. That's huge for us. We got a grant from the Georgie Family Foundation to offer these services throughout the Reading area. So we've been able to do veterinarian clinics, and we're going to be doing mobile clinics where we're able to go in the community and serve them where they are. So mentioning
That's-
barriers, if
Sure,
transportation
that's a barrier,
is
definitely.
a barrier to getting to our vets, we want to take our vets to the community. So that's huge on the vet side.
Sure.
Then also in alignment with that grant, we're going to be renovating, pretty much demolishing and rebuilding our shelter.
Wow,
Yeah.
big
So-
step, big
Yep.
step.
Big project, big undertaking, but with that we're going to be able to serve more animals, serve more of the community, and provide a greater number of services. So that will hopefully increase the number of animals that are being adopted, and through the spay and neuter services, maybe we'll see less animals out the get-go. So it's definitely, those are kind of two of our big missions. And then selfishly, from a marketing and branding standpoint, for me, it's really how we position the organization. We have these great little characters that you'll see
Okay.
on all of our branding, Spike and Tilly, and they get into it. We dress them up. They wear different costumes. They, for the brand, are a really fun and whimsical way to make our branding stand out
Sure,
around
sure.
the community.
Do you think that more education is needed? Because people will sometimes
Absolutely.
just, so is there any way that you offer, obviously when people are coming in, you try as much as much as you can to educate as to, what responsibility they're taking on when they do adopt an animal. Are there other things that you do either off-site or on-site where you try to educate people, particularly the spade and neutering, I think is huge. I know that can be a huge challenge and problem.
Yes, so we do education programs, we do training programs as well, both with our staff and with the community, in just helping the community members understand that this animal is great and snuggly and amazing. We really would prefer they don't make more little animals, just because for us, we really want our community to be able to take care of their animals that they have.
Right.
For example, again with the Spike's Pet Pantry, breaking down barriers for them to be able to care for that pet. So the training and education part is going to further expand with this grant. We are incredibly grateful. We're really able to take a bigger bite out of some of these really intense but very solvable issues.
That's great. That's great, because I love the way you say the fact that they're intense, they're a
They are
challenge,
real.
but they're solvable, they're real. So talk a little bit about this great event coming up, because you told me it's unique. So we're sort of event driven here at the chamber
Sure.
as well. So
Yeah.
I'd like to hear what you think is a unique event.
So a little over 2 months from now is our annual Art for Arf's Sake auction.
Art for Arfs.
Yes.
Great name.
Yes, thank you. That is definitely our CEO, Carl, at his finest, coming up with the catchiest of names. But yes, it is unique in a sense that it features a silent auction, raffles, live auction, food, drink. None of that sounds unique, but it is a 2.5 hour live auction. It starts at 7 o'clock and normally ends around 9 or 9:30. And to me, when I first started, I was like, a 2.5 hour live auction, like you've got to be kidding me. I go to events and I'm done after like 2 or 3 items, but this one is just very lively. It's very entertaining. Everyone really gets into it. It becomes very competitive, all for a really good cause. The live auction alone raises like $28,000 for our organization, which is incredible. I mean, just that one component alone.
Sure.
And then the event as a whole raises about $100,000 for our organization. So
Wow.
it's a huge event.
Very worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just so many moving parts to it. Almost 99.9% of the stuff that's up for auction is donated. So we aren't really spending much on, adding to the event and whatnot. So it allows all of the funds that are raised to stay within our organization, and we're not having to buy other stuff to sort of complement the pieces. So artists are really generous in donating original artwork to us, or experiences or trips and stuff like that, which is fantastic.
Okay, so it's more than just art.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
experiences, it's other
Oh, yeah.
items, it's things that could be used, by a variety of different types of tastes and people.
Yes, yeah, there's something for everybody.
Well,
Definitely.
our time is getting short, but we definitely need to know. So, Art for Arf's Sake.
Yep.
Wonderful. When is it and where is it?
It is April 27th. It's a Saturday. It starts at
Okay.
5:30, and it's at the Santander Performing Arts Center.
Oh,
So
very cool.
not
Oh, very,
far. Yep.
very interesting for an event. So, do you do
Yes.
it in the theater? You do it throughout the whole facility, or how?
The live auction part is in the theater.
Okay,
So we
okay.
use sort of that outer area when you first walk in as like the cocktail hour, the silent auction, the raffle kind of thing for about an hour and a half, and then we transition everyone into the theater for the live auction.
And how can people get tickets?
They can go to our website, humanepa.org.
That's pretty easy,
Very easy.
humanepa.org. That is pretty, well, I'm hoping that you have a wonderful experience, that people have fun, and that you raise lots and lots of money for our, I should say, just not only our four-legged friends, but those that have feathers and, you know,
Sure.
and
Yeah,
shells and
yes.
everything else in between. So,
Yep.
well, thank you so much for being here. You do great work. I know you believe in the cause,
Yes.
and thank you for that. It's great to have two young professionals who really care about what's happening here, particularly in our world of our animals in Berks County. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.